owning, okay? Which one is better, okay? As a real estate agent, people are coming to me saying that they want to rent and some want to own, or some feel like they never really own anything because of property taxes and insurance, okay? So that's why I say renting versus buying, because I don't know, as long as you have property taxes and insurance, and those do fluctuate. So I make sure that individuals are aware of that uh, before they decide to undertake this huge investment. Okay. And that's what homeownership is. It's an investment. Okay. So obviously, when you're renting, if you are any age, if you're a person, you want the flexibility to be able to possibly move when you want to move. And I really can't say as a renter that you're moving when you want to move, because you're legally bound by the lease that you sign. And then obviously there's terms that you have to adhere to. If you don't comply with the lease, then you're going to be charged, break fees, possibly get judgments, all types of court cases, garnishments, and things like that, collections. So that can also, be an issue when it comes to wanting to get out of your lease. That's why it's so important to read the terms of your lease. And then some of the places have a lot of move-in specials if you sign a 14 or a 15-month lease, a 13-month lease. However, if you know that you're only going to be where you're planning to move for a designated time, don't let the specials get you coming in the door. You sign for that year, and in that year, you're going to commit to moving or possibly getting a home if that it is in fact your goal. Obviously, maintenance, okay? If you don't like the maintenance of the thought of dealing, hello, thanks for tuning in. If you don't like the fact of having to deal with repairs, so if something breaks, guess what? It's on you when you own that home versus renting it out. You usually have a site you can log on to, and someone else handles it, takes that repair and that work order, boom, and it's done, okay? Um, that is up to you when you own. So whether you have a home warranty, you want to make sure that when you do buy, you possibly get a home warranty. Your insurance is sufficient, going to cover you when there's storm damages, there's a tree that falls. Any of those things could possibly occur as a homeowner. And I know people think the cost is lower when you're renting, and that's not necessarily true, because your upfront costs, going into it, renting versus buying. When you're renting, you're going to have your application fee. You're going to have your uh, administrative fee, credit check fees. I mean, all types of fees they add on. And then obviously you're going to have your security deposit. Could be a month, and in Arizona, it could be a month and a half of the rent. So that can get pretty pricey, depending on how much your rent is. And then obviously whatever date you move in, the rent's going to be prorated for that time period. So now when you're owning, when you're buying, some of your closing costs and things could potentially be covered by the seller. So, I've had people come, into the closing table with only $1,000 or $1,500 to move in. Now, the cons to renting could be obviously at the end of your lease, you're not prepared to obviously uproot, break everything down, and start packing and moving somewhere else. Guess what? Some states don't have rent control, and I've seen rents raised as high as $100, $200 more on top of the rent that they're already paying. So at the end of the lease, I've seen the rents go up. Okay, so you just have to be prepared for that, or be prepared to move. Obviously, you're not building equity. So when you're renting, a lot of people say, oh, you're paying somebody else's mortgage, making your landlord rich or whatever. But I look at it as, if it's a situation that you don't want to own, and, you just don't care about owning, then that's totally valid. You know, a lot of people don't ever want homeownership, the American dream, I guess, or whatever. You know, that's not everybody's dream, and I don't push and force that on anyone, because you know, you have the right to choose and decide what is best for you and your family and whatnot. Okay. Um, and then obviously you have people that when you're renting, sometimes they don't want you putting mounting TVs up. Sometimes they tell you things have to be a certain way. You can't change the colors. You can't, you know, put up this or that. So if you want to do your own painting, if you want to, you know, knock out a wall and say, hey, oh, I didn't like that. Well, when you're renting, you really don't have that freedom. You don't, you know, you don't control that when it comes to how you want to organize, decorate, and rearrange your space the way you want it. Okay. Now, as a homeowner, that can unlock and open so many doors for you. Okay. I'll give you one example. Say if you have credit card balances and you're paying 25%, you had to use your credit card for an emergency. Guess what? Um, there are times where, you know, you can take out a second mortgage and you could do a cash out and possibly get some cash at a lower interest rate and be able to consult your tax person, though. Okay. I'm not a tax advisor, tax preparer, any of that. But be able to get some of the, you know, that interest, recoup it back in your taxes. So just about it's being smart. And then also you're building that equity up, so you're able to possibly take a loan out if you want to get a business. If some large expense comes up, then, you know, the more you're in the home, the values are improving around the neighborhood that you're at, as well as if you've done upgrades and renovations to your home to bring the value up. So yeah, so don't always think it's a bad thing when property taxes are going up. That also could be, you know, a blessing for you as well. Okay. Um, and you also want to think about the rent, I'll say, with it not having the rent control in some places. Sometimes just knowing that, you know, you don't have any control or flexibility of what your rent payment's going to be. And I'll say with the home ownership, depending on the area that you're in, if there's schools, if there's, you know, they're building all types of jobs and um, things around you that are going to be, you know, conducive to a great community. Well, guess what? Your taxes are still going to go up there. So all in all, you know, as they say, you can't leave an apartment to your child if you have children or family members that you want to leave something to. You can't leave an apartment, but you can leave a home. But I always say with that, make sure that you leave something with the home. So many times people are saying, "Oh, grandma's house got sold, and now, you know, they, you know, gentrification. You know, they have done so many things. Whoever took it over." Or else they use the land for something else. But I will say it's important if you can't afford to keep up the home, if your financial situation is not steady, which, you know, you know your situation. No one knows that. Only you know that. So that's why I say it may not always be the best thing. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you know, if you're getting your home and you're 45, you're getting a home and you're 50, guess what? It's never, ever too late. So um, I would say to you is to start saving right now. If homeownership is your goal, you want to make sure you have that nest egg, um, because surprises always come up. Okay. It could be a time when you're down on your, you know, your hours at work. Potentially you're in the transition where something happened to your job and, you know, you have to find another job. You want to make sure and always communicate with the bank, you know, always get on the phone with them. There's all types of programs to help you stay in your home, and just don't avoid it. Now, when you're renting, those programs are not there. So that's another thing. So usually, unless you have a landlord that is so flexible and understanding to say, hey, this month I don't have it, next month I will. You know, um, I have a lot of people that say, hey, I tried to give my landlord the rent, but they didn't take the rent and I still got evicted. So with that, I say, when you're renting, make sure that you're aware if it's the big management companies, a lot of them, they may grant you some grace and you're able to be late once. But for the most part, those larger big management companies, they're not going to give you much grace. So when I say that, usually whenever they give that 5-day notice or you have a court date, and if you don't show up, with the money there, generally they do, proceed with the eviction. Now, the only thing with that, with the court costs and legal fees, there's other fees that you have to pay, which is absurd, to me. But once you go to court, they come up with all kinds of costs on top of the rent. So people will be like, well, they came after me for an extra $1,500 when it was only $4,000 or something like that. So just try to be careful. Be very, very careful when you're with the big management companies. A lot of them just, you're literally just a number, and I've seen places like the smaller places or the mom and pop places, they've been willing to work with people. But, then again, some people don't own, multiple properties. So they're counting on your rent to pay their mortgage. So, so just think about that. But I would say try to get yourself in a strong position, whether you're going to rent or buy. Get yourself in a strong position so you never know if an opportunity came up and you had the chance to be able to be a landlord. If you were going to look at a 2-family or 4-family, live on one side or live upstairs or, whatever the case is, and, rent the other side out. And also, you could even rent it out to a family member. So, a lot of family members are coming together now, and I'm seeing more of that since I've been in real estate. So, multi-generational. I'm helping someone now. It's a mother and two kids. So, people are coming together now. People are, thinking back to where it used to be. So we used to live like that. So we didn't just wait until we got 18 and got out the house or feel like I have to leave because I can't get along with everybody. They make it do what it do. So um, if you are planning your move to Arizona, if you're already in Arizona and you're looking for a home, if you're looking to buy or lease, if you're looking for a space for your business, reach out to me today. I'm Pamela Scott, your AZ Relo plug, and I cannot wait to hear from you. So I'm going to shut this down. Be blessed. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them down below. And I cannot wait to work with you. If you want to book your consultation, the link is in my bio, and I hope to hear from you soon. Be blessed.